You pour olive oil every single day. But 6,000 years ago, it was currency. It anointed kings, it fueled wars, it lit the lamps of empires. This is the story of liquid gold. Archaeologists found olive oil residue in Israel. The pottery dates back 8,000 years. That makes it one of humanity's oldest crops. Wild olive trees grew across the Mediterranean coast. Early humans noticed something strange about the fruit. Raw olives taste bitter, almost poisonous. So someone tried crushing them instead. Oil seeped out, golden and fragrant. That discovery changed the ancient world forever. By 3000 BCE, Crete was exporting oil. The Minoans built palaces around olive wealth. Knossos alone stored over 400 giant jars. Oil wasn't just food, it was power. Egyptians imported it, since their soil grew olives poorly. They used it for skin, medicine, and lamps. Pharaohs were buried with jars of oil. They believed it eased the journey to the afterlife. Then came the Greeks, who took it further. Olive oil became sacred, tied to the gods. Legend says Athena gifted the olive tree to Athens. The city was named after her because of it. A sacred olive tree grew on the Acropolis. Athenians guarded it like a national treasure. Olympic champions were crowned with olive wreaths. Not gold, not silver. Just leaves. Because oil meant more than metal back then. Greek athletes rubbed oil on their bodies before competing. Wrestlers coated themselves head to toe in it. After sweating, they scraped it off with a tool. That scraped mixture was called gymnasium dirt. People believed it held healing power. Some even sold it as medicine. Fair question. Why olive oil, not butter or fat? The answer lies in climate and chemistry. Mediterranean summers are hot, dry, and brutal. Butter spoils fast in that heat. Olive oil resists rancidity far longer. It also burns cleaner in oil lamps. Animal fat produces smoke and foul smell. Olive oil burns bright without the stench. That made it essential for temples and homes. By 1200 BCE, trade routes carried oil everywhere. Phoenician ships hauled jars across the sea. They traded oil for silver, tin, and timber. Some historians call them ancient oil tycoons. Rome then entered the picture and changed everything. Roman engineers invented the trapedum, a crushing mill. It let them press oil at massive scale. Rome consumed olive oil the way nations consume fuel today. One estimate says Rome imported 30 million liters yearly. Mount Testaccio in Rome proves this scale. It's a literal hill made of broken jars. Nearly 53 million discarded amphorae built that mound. Romans used oil for bathing, not just cooking. Bathhouses employed workers just to apply oil. Soldiers even oiled their skin before battle. It protected skin from sun and cold alike. Officers rationed oil to soldiers like food itself. A soldier's daily ration included wine, grain, and oil. Without oil, Roman rations felt incomplete. Quick note, hit like and subscribe to the channel. We're just getting to the good part. Now, let's talk about how oil was actually made. Harvest happened every autumn without exception. Workers laid nets beneath the trees. Then they beat branches with long wooden poles. Olives rained down onto the waiting nets. Others simply climbed and picked by hand. Speed mattered because olives bruise and rot fast. Within a day, olives went to the press. First, a stone wheel crushed them into paste. The paste included pulp, skin, and pit together. Workers spread that paste onto woven mats. They stacked dozens of mats in a tower. Then, a giant wooden press squeezed downward. Oil and water dripped out together below. Since oil floats, separation happened naturally. Workers skimmed the oil off the surface. The first pressing produced the finest oil. Later pressings made rougher oil for lamps. Nothing from the process went to waste. Leftover pulp fed livestock or fueled fires. This basic method barely changed for centuries. Rome eventually collapsed, but olive culture didn't. Byzantine monasteries kept oil production alive. Monks pressed oil for lamps in churches. They also used it in sacred rituals. Islam later spread across the same Mediterranean lands. Olive oil is mentioned directly in the Quran. It's described as a blessed and sacred tree. Muslim scholars praised its medicinal properties for centuries. Meanwhile, in Spain, groves expanded under Moorish rule. Andalusia became one of Europe's largest oil producers. That legacy still shapes Spain's economy today. Spain now produces nearly half the world's supply, but oil almost disappeared from parts of Europe. Northern climates simply couldn't grow olive trees. So those regions turned to butter and animal fat. This split Europe into two culinary cultures. Southern cooking relied on oil for everything. Northern cooking relied on lard, cream, and butter. That divide still exists on dinner tables today. Medieval merchants guarded olive oil recipes closely. Adulteration became a serious and constant problem. Cheaper oils got mixed in to increase profit. Cities eventually passed laws punishing oil fraud. In some regions, punishment included exile or fines. Oil quality mattered because oil meant trust. By the Renaissance, olive oil symbolized refinement. Wealthy Italian families competed over grove ownership. Owning groves signaled status, like owning vineyards. Meanwhile, explorers carried olive trees across the Atlantic. Spanish missionaries planted the first trees in the Americas. California's groves traced directly back to those missions. By the 1700s, oil had reached nearly every continent. Yet, its heart always remained the Mediterranean basin. French chefs began treating oil as a luxury ingredient. Provence groves supplied kitchens across noble households. Meanwhile, pirates targeted oil-laden ships at sea. A full cargo of oil was worth a fortune. Losing one ship could bankrupt an entire merchant family. Insurance for oil cargo became its own industry. Venice and Genoa competed fiercely over oil trade routes. Whoever controlled the ports controlled the profit. Wars were fought partly over these trade lanes. Oil wasn't just a good, it was leverage. Industrialization eventually changed how oil got made. Steam-powered mills replaced slow stone presses. Hydraulic presses squeezed paste far more efficiently. Production scaled from village output to national industry. By the 1900s, centrifuges replaced pressing almost entirely. Centrifugal force separates oil from water instantly. This method is faster, cleaner, and more efficient. Most olive oil today still comes from this process. Small family presses still survive in rural villages. Some families press oil the same way for generations. They say the old method preserves better flavor. Others argue modern methods simply produce cleaner oil. The debate between tradition and technology continues today. Both methods still coexist across the Mediterranean. The term extra virgin didn't always carry meaning. For decades, labeling rules stayed loose and inconsistent. Fraud became a massive global problem by the 1990s. Some bottles labeled olive oil contained mostly other oils. Sunflower oil and seed oils were common substitutes. Some fraudsters even added chlorophyll for color. Investigators uncovered entire counterfeit networks in Italy. Italy tightened regulations after major scandals broke out. The European Union created strict certification standards. Now, true extra virgin oil must meet chemical thresholds. Acidity must stay below a specific strict percentage. It must also pass taste tests by certified experts. These tasters are trained to detect subtle flavor defects. A single flaw can disqualify an entire batch. Tasters can detect rancidity, mustiness, even winey defects. Some panels train for years before earning certification. A trained palate can be worth more than machinery. Despite regulation, fraud investigations still happen regularly. In 2016, a major operation seized thousands of fake bottles. Journalists and researchers still test store-bought oils today. Consumers now check labels far more carefully than before. Today, over 40 countries produce commercial olive oil. Spain, Italy, and Greece still dominate global output. Together, they produce roughly 70% of the world's supply. But new producers are rising fast worldwide. Australia, Chile, and even California now compete globally. Modern groves stretch for miles in perfect rows. Machines now shake entire trees to harvest fruit. Olives fall in seconds instead of hours by hand. Yet some producers still insist on hand-picking. They claim it protects fruit quality and flavor. Science eventually confirmed olive oil's health benefits too. Researchers found it rich in monounsaturated fats. Those fats are linked to better heart health. The Mediterranean diet gained global attention because of this. Ansel Keys studied this diet back in the 1950s. He linked it to lower rates of heart disease. That single study reshaped nutrition science permanently. Later studies found oil rich in antioxidants too. Polyphenols in the oil showed anti-inflammatory effects. Some researchers linked it to lower cancer risk. Other studies connected it to better brain health. Not every claim held up under closer scrutiny. Some marketing exaggerated benefits far beyond the evidence. Nutritionists warn that quality and freshness matter most. Oil loses potency the longer it sits on shelves. Light and heat degrade its beneficial compounds fast. That's why experts recommend dark glass bottles. Storing oil in a cool, dark place preserves it. Olive oil sales exploded across America soon after. By the 1980s, it moved from specialty stores to supermarkets. Today, it's a staple in kitchens worldwide. Global demand keeps rising every single year. Climate change now threatens traditional growing regions. Droughts in Spain have reduced harvests significantly. Prices spiked sharply during recent shortage years. Farmers now experiment with drought-resistant tree varieties. Some groves have shifted toward higher altitudes. Cooler air there helps trees survive rising heat. Researchers also study ancient tree genetics for resilience. Ancient varieties survived droughts humans haven't seen in centuries. Their genes may hold answers for future farming. Meanwhile, some regions face the opposite problem entirely. Unusual rainfall damages roots not built for excess water. Farmers must now adapt faster than their ancestors did. Technology helps track soil moisture in real time. Drones now monitor entire groves from above. Data guides decisions that once relied on instinct alone. Yet, many farmers still trust generations of inherited knowledge. Old techniques and new data now work together. Some producers blend ancient wisdom with satellite mapping. The goal stays the same as it always was: protect the harvest and preserve the tree. Because every tree represents years of patient investment. Olive trees can take 5 years before their first harvest. Some varieties take over a decade to mature fully. That's a long wait for any farmer to endure, but once mature, trees can produce for centuries. Some trees planted by Romans might still be alive. Carbon dating helps confirm the true age of trees. One tree in Portugal is believed to be centuries old. Locals treat these ancient trees as living monuments. Some are protected by law from being cut down. Cutting one down can bring serious legal penalties. Communities see these trees as part of their identity. Festivals celebrate the harvest across many Mediterranean towns. Villages hold contests for the best local oil. Winners earn pride that lasts an entire year. These traditions connect modern life to ancient roots. Today's olive oil industry is worth billions of dollars. Global trade moves millions of tons every year. Yet the harvesting process still echoes ancient methods. Trees are still shaken, picked, and pressed with care. Some estates now offer tours for curious travelers. Visitors taste fresh oil straight from the press. Agritourism has become a growing part of the industry. Chefs increasingly showcase single estate oils on menus. Just like wine, terroir now defines olive oil quality. Soil, climate, and variety all shape the final taste. Some oils taste peppery, others taste fruity or mild. Sommeliers now specialize entirely in olive oil tasting. They describe flavors the way wine experts describe vintages. Competitions award medals for the finest oils yearly. Winning an award can transform a small farm's fortune. Buyers from around the world seek out award winners. Prices for prestigious oils can rival fine wine. Some rare bottles sell for hundreds of dollars each. Collectors now store rare oils the way others store wine. Yet most oil consumed worldwide remains simple and affordable. For most people, it's just part of daily cooking. A drizzle over bread, a base for sauces, nothing more. Yet that simple act connects you to thousands of years. Every bottle carries traces of an unbroken tradition. Farmers, monks, soldiers, and kings all touched this oil. Pharaohs anointed themselves. Greeks crowned champions with it. Romans bathed in it. Monks blessed with it. Merchants built fortunes, moving it across entire seas. Wars were fought over groves and trade routes. Scientists eventually proved what ancient people simply felt. This substance genuinely benefits the human body. Maybe that's why it survived every single era intact. Not through force, not through conquest, through usefulness. Every civilization that touched it kept it. Every civilization that lost access tried to get it back. That's rare for any single ancient product. Gold gets hoarded. Spices get replaced. Oil stays essential. Because oil isn't about luxury. It's about survival. Light, food, medicine, ritual, all from one plant. Few crops in history served so many purposes at once. Wheat feeds, wool clothes, olive oil does almost everything. That versatility explains why it never truly disappeared. Empires that depended on oil eventually vanished completely. Rome fell, Greece changed, Byzantium crumbled entirely. The olive tree simply kept growing regardless. Some trees alive today predate most modern nations. One tree in Crete may be over 3,000 years old. Scientists estimate it could be even older than that. It still produces olives and oil every single year. That tree was alive before the Parthenon existed. It watched empires rise, collapse, and vanish entirely. Through all of it, the tree kept producing oil. Olive oil outlasted every civilization that depended on it. Modern chemists can now analyze oil down to the molecule, yet its basic recipe remains exactly what it always was. Crush the fruit, press it, collect what flows. Nature already perfected the process long ago. Humans simply learned to work with what it offered. Every bottle on your shelf holds that same simple truth. A fruit nobody could eat raw became essential to civilization. Few discoveries in history traveled that far. From a bitter fruit to sacred oil for gods. From currency between empires to a bottle in your kitchen. The journey took thousands of years to complete, yet the fruit itself barely changed at all. Trees grow the same way they did millennia ago. Farmers still watch the sky, waiting for rain. They still worry about frost, damaging young buds. Some things about farming never really change. Technology changed the tools, not the fundamental relationship. Humans and olive trees have depended on each other for millennia. That relationship shaped entire economies and cultures. It shaped religious rituals across multiple continents. It shaped diets that scientists now praise for health. It shaped wars, trade routes, and entire fortunes. Few plants have influenced human history this deeply. Wheat gets credit for civilization's rise most often, but olive oil quietly powered just as much progress. It lit the rooms where philosophers wrote and debated. Aristotle and Plato likely studied by olive oil lamps. Libraries in Alexandria burned oil to light their halls. Without that light, countless texts might never have been written. Oil didn't just feed people, it illuminated ideas. That's an easy detail to overlook in history class. Yet without oil, the ancient world happens differently. Trade shifts, religions change, entire cultures look different. One small fruit altered the direction of human history. That's worth remembering next time you cook with it. You're not just adding flavor to your food, you're using a substance that shaped entire empires, a substance that lit ancient rooms and anointed kings, a substance farmers still tend with patience today. Every harvest still depends on rain, sun, and time. No machine has replaced those three requirements yet. Nature still sets the terms for this ancient crop. Perhaps that's the most important lesson hidden here. Not kings, not wars, not empires at all. Just a tree, patient enough to outlast history itself. Civilizations rise chasing power, gold, and conquest. The olive tree never chased anything at all. It simply grew, produced, and waited for the next season. Humans built entire civilizations around that simple patience. Maybe patience outlasts ambition more often than we admit. Every empire that worshipped power eventually crumbled. Every grove that simply kept growing is still here. That contrast says something about what actually endures. Not conquest, not gold, just consistent, quiet growth. Every time you pour olive oil, remember this. You're using something older than written language itself, older than most religions, older than most nations, older than nearly every institution humans still rely on. It has outlived languages that no longer exist. It has outlived currencies that no longer hold value. It has outlived borders that no longer appear on maps. Through every change, the oil kept flowing steadily. From Minoan jars to Roman amphorae to glass bottles. From stone presses to hydraulic presses to centrifuges. The container changed. The substance stayed the same. That consistency is rare across thousands of years. Few things connect ancient Crete to your modern kitchen. Olive oil is one of those rare, unbroken threads. Liquid gold, still flowing after 8,000 years. Still lighting kitchens. Still anointing meals. Still connecting us. To farmers who lived, worked, and died beneath these trees. To empires that rose and fell, chasing its value. To a fruit that refused to be forgotten. That's the real history of liquid gold. Thanks for watching this entire journey through time. If you learned something, consider subscribing for more. History is full of stories hiding in plain sight. This one was sitting in your kitchen the whole time.